Agencies charge $50,000 and up for websites like this one. This is Audio.ai, and it was built by Illusion, an award-winning studio that lives at the top of every best websites on the internet list. And the one thing everybody agrees on is that AI cannot build sites like this. The WebGL, the physics, the motion, that's supposed to be the line that AI can't cross. So I spent 2 hours finding out if that's still true. Now I could show you the result right now, but you wouldn't know if you could trust it, because 40 minutes into this build, it completely fell apart. And the way it recovered is the only reason this video exists. So here's what you're getting: where it broke, the one thing that saved it, and then the side-by-side against the real $50,000 website so you can judge it with your own eye. I sell websites to clients, so this is not a total test for me. And if this works, the economics of an entire service line change. And everything I use in this video, the prompt, the setup file, the checklist, is in my free Claude kit. I'll show you exactly where to grab that once you've seen the result, because it won't make any sense until you have. So stick around for the end of the video and I'll show you exactly how you can get that. Okay, so here's the exact prompt that I gave it. And there's nothing that spectacular about it. I literally just told Claude Code to clone the Audio.ai site. But I also gave it access to some skills. I'll show you exactly how to get those skills next. Now bear in mind, the entire clone took about 2 hours, and this was compressed over 2 sessions because I kept hitting the Fable 5 rate limits. So this is about 20 minutes into the build, and it's really quite interesting what's happening, because it's saying the dependencies are installed, and now it's doing a browser reconnaissance of the Audio.ai website. So it's not actually guessing. It pulled the structure apart before it wrote a single line of code, which is exactly what a human does when they develop a site that's this complex. And while you watch this, think about the maths, because a studio quotes a 50 grand and a 12-week timeline for this. And at this point, I'm about 30 minutes into the build. Okay, so this is the part where it starts to go wrong. It's failed to print the footer fragment tag skeleton. I don't know what that means because I'm not a programmer, but then it hit the rate limit, which is a real frustration when you're trying to use Claude Code. And since Fable 5 is free until the 7th of July, it's clear that Anthropic's servers are getting absolutely hammered. And I'm going to leave this in the video, because what happens next is the difference between this video being a demo and it being useful. So once I hit the 5-hour usage limit, I had to wait 5 hours until my Claude account reset, at which point it carried on where it left off. The clone is nearly complete, and at this point I'm about 90 minutes into the build, and you can see here that Fable 5 is working on the final fixes. So it's retrying the footer fragment analysis that hit a transient error. And if this was a client build, this is the moment you'd be writing a panicked email to your developer at 11 p.m. But instead, look at what Fable 5 does. It's actually found the error, and at this point I'm not doing anything. I've literally got my feet up, I can smoke a cigar, I can drink cocktails, because Fable 5 is identifying the problems and it's fixing it for me. And it's found other problems, like the header fragment still mismatched. But then after about 10 minutes, it's fixed it. Okay, so we're about 2 hours on the clock here, and the build is done. But before I show you the side by side, I want to show you the skills that really made a difference. The first one is the AI Builder Club skill. Just head over to GitHub and do a search for AI Builder Club. And basically, it's just a bunch of assets, a bunch of skills that turns you into a loop engineer. And I will cover looping inside of Claude on a separate video. You don't need to worry about it too much on this one. The second skill is the AI website clone template. Again, this is on GitHub as well. And as the name suggests, this lets you use AI to clone any website. And the third one has the really imaginative name of skills. And fundamentally, all it does is it just lets you extract web shader, which is just technical speak. What this means is that it will let you extract WebGL, Canvas, shader effects from websites and port them into standalone native JS projects. Now, in layman terms, all this means is that it's going to extract the dynamic elements from our Audio.ai website and then move them over onto the clone. And these are the technologies that basically turned Audio into a $50,000 project. Okay, so here's the big reveal. The original website, Audio.ai, is on the left here, and my clone is on the right. And honestly, for the most part, it hasn't done a bad job. Now, there are some obvious missing elements here. So the hero isn't as good. It's also missing the actual coaster, which is the hero, the showstopper, the centerpiece of this entire website. It's kind of done a good job, but doesn't really look like a coaster in my clone. In terms of the fonts, it's pulled out across the branding, the colors. There's some overlap here, but I think this is because I've got a split screen in Brave here. It doesn't actually look like this if I show you on the tab by itself. But yeah, this is the most interesting part that's actually cloned, which is this slider here. And that's on the original. So this is this element here, and it's done a really good job. Where I think it falls down is in the transitions. It's not that smooth. So you see here where you've got the coaster and it kind of opens up and it's really dynamic. Unfortunately, the Fable 5 clone doesn't have any of these elements, and it won't be able to clone this animation at the bottom of the website. And in terms of font, it's almost there. Obviously, it's slightly off. It's not the exact same font, and also the size is a little bit different. But for the color and the gradients, it's almost nailed it. And it's pulled all the testimonials across as you would, because it's just text. There's nothing fancy about this. It's not that difficult to clone, but it doesn't have any of the dynamic elements with the coaster here, which, like I said earlier, is the showstopper. This is what this satirical website's all about. So what do I think? Has it done a good enough job? Is this something that I could sell to a potential client? Well, here's my honest answer. For a first draft, for a first pass, it wasn't actually that bad. It's probably done about 60 to 70% of all the heavy lifting. That being said, there's some dynamic elements like the actual coaster, some of the transitions, and the overall aesthetic is actually missing. And this is where you are going to need an actual designer, a developer to help you get this project over the line. So the good news is Fable 5 is almost there. We're not that far off from cloning the most dynamic, the most interesting websites on the internet. But it also means that this isn't the end for designers, for creators, and for people who build these amazing websites. So actually, I'm quite optimistic about the future for both camps. I think AI is going to help us build amazing websites. They're going to be dynamic, they're going to have transitions, they're going to be aesthetically very pleasing. But I also think that there's going to be space in the market for designers, for creative artists, because we still need them. Thank you so much if you made it this far. The link to my free AI kit is in the video description. Just click on the link below. Get started. If you're new to this, it will all make sense to you. That includes the prompts, the setup files, the checklist, everything that I run before I start any client build. And if this video saved you a $50,000 quote, smash the like button because it costs you $0. And it helps me and the YouTube algorithm find more people like you. Because I'm somebody that spent over $100 million in paid advertising, generating over $300 million for some of the world's biggest brands. And now I run an AI agency. I've actually automated some of the tasks that I used to do for these e-commerce brands. I build AI agents, I build workflows, and I'm documenting the entire process for you on this channel. Thanks again, and I'll see you when the next video drops.